Third video within our basic matrix operations is our determinants. And I've probably never heard of the term before, but a determinant is actually very powerful and is used a lot in matrix algebra, especially in later on courses or in real world applications. But today we're just going to introduce you to the concept of a determinant. And as you can read up here, like a matrix, it looks a lot like it, but it's an absolute value bar. So when you look at matrix A, we have like a square bracket to represent matrix A. If we're being asked to find the determinant of A, they look like absolute value bars. The other difference is, rather than calling it just A equals square brackets, we have DET, the short version of determinant. So DETA is asking us to find the determinant of matrix A. The long and the short of it is we're going to learn how to do 2x2 determinants by hand. They're very easy. They're quick. Once you go past a 2x2, you're not really going to get by hand. They're very difficult. It's not impossible, but at that point we just go to the calculator. So we'll show you by hand the 2x2s, AP Calc, that kind of stuff. You're going to have to know how to do it by hand anyway. So let's talk about this. If you have a 2x2 matrix, to find the determinant, all you do is it's like cross multiplying fractions. So you're going to take the arrows A times D and then minus B times C. So you kind of do this crisscross pattern. From your first element, A, you go across and multiply AD, and then come back up minus BC, which is the AD minus BC. Here we have an example. So cross 3, 2 minus 6 times 7. So 6 minus 42 is negative 36. Okay, it's not too difficult. Considering A, B, C, D, it just says calculate the determinants of A, B, C, and D. So let's, if we do those very briefly, very quickly, that's 25. So 5 is 25 minus, so 5 by 5 minus 7 by 2, 14. So the determinant of A is 11. Determinant B, so negative 5, negative 4, that's 20 minus 6 times negative 2, excuse me, minus negative 12, or 32. C, so 1 times 4 minus 6 times negative 2. For some reason on my page, it is on a new, or on my document, is determinant D is on a new page down here, but it's 36, so 9 times 4 minus, and that's just 0, so that's 36. So we found our determinants that way. Again, determinant A would be, is like saying DET of A is absolute of 5, 2, 7, 5, absolute value. Do not put the bracket part, just more of an absolute value. All right, so the rest of this video, we're going to be learning how to do 3x3 matrices, and that is doing them on the calculator. So we're just going to need to learn how to do calculator work at this point. Finding a 3x3, it's really not that bad. What you do is 2 times 9 minus 0 times 6, and then 4 times 5 times 9 minus 0 times 4, and 5 times 9 and, I'm sorry, 5 times 6 and 2 times 4. So there's absolutely a pattern to it, but in the calculator, all we do is hit determinant, matrix A, hit enter, and we get a number. So step 1, we have to enter a matrix in a calculator. You've probably never done this before. So first things first, how do we enter a matrix? Well, it's no different than putting an equation in or putting a table in. But you may have not, maybe you've noticed before, maybe you haven't, but right here is the matrix command. So we're going to go second matrix, and we have options. First, we can use the name matrix A, which we will here shortly. But if you go over, we have all these matrix math commands. So you'll notice the first one is exactly what we're doing. We're finding the determinant of, and then we would label our matrix. So in our third column, we have editing, and that's what we want to do. So you'd hit enter on matrix A. So first thing we have to do is we need to determine, okay, well, what are we looking for? Well, we have on our sheet, if I minimize this, we have a 3 by 3 matrix. So we're going to be, our cursor is here, we're going to say 3, and then hit enter by 3. Hit enter again. Now, here's our 3 by 3. Now we get to fill in those numbers. Those numbers are right off this page, and as you hit enter, it'll go across first. So we'll go 2, 4, 5. So 2, hit enter, it goes across, 4, hit enter, 5, hit enter. Then it goes to the next row. Then the others were 5 again, then 2 and 0, and then 4, 6, and 9. So we've filled in our matrix. We've now defined matrix A. It's a 3 by 3 with these entries. So what we do to, let's see, step 1, enter the matrix in the calculator. Done. Step 2 says press second matrix again to get back to the matrix menu. One thing it doesn't say is we do have to clear out back to our home screen first. So we need to exit out, be back on our home screen. It says select second matrix again, but this time we're going to go to the math and we want the determinant. So we hit enter because we're already selected to number 1. So we want the determinant of matrix A. Well, how do we put matrix A in here? How do we define that on the calculator? And really, it's not difficult. We go back to second matrix. And remember I said we have the matrix names right here? That's how you are able to input these into like commands in the calculator. So also note that it's changed this and says, by the way, it's a 3 by 3. So we hit enter. We're finding the determinant of A. I can close the parentheses if I want. And I hit enter. It says, oh, hey, it's negative 34. Well, if you look at your sheet, it says determinant A and negative 34. So again, if I want to clear that out, I've gone into matrix. Matrix. I went clear over to edit. And then I said it's a 3 by 3. And then I filled in my numbers. Okay. From there, I go back to the home screen. And if I want to find the determinant, I go second matrix. I hit right to get to the math commands. I find the determinant. And then I need to say matrix A. So second matrix again. And then here I can just hit enter because I want to use matrix A. And then hit enter and it finds the determinant for me. So from there we would go through, if you look back at your screen, sorry, not your screen, your paper. If you look at your paper, you've got matrices G, H, J, and K. And what you need to do is just go through. Yours would be like you could rewrite matrix A, redefine it, and B, C, and D, or just keep rewriting over matrix A over and over and finding the determinant. But if we wanted to do J, real quick, I got the time. J is just we're gonna go second matrix. We're gonna edit, and we're actually having a, oh, sorry, it's still 3. That's a 3 by 4. Enter. So it just added that column we need to rewrite. So 2, 4, 3, 1. Again, I'm doing example J. So that's 2, 4, 3, 1. 62906. Five, 2, 3, 5. Okay, so I've defined my matrix. I'm going to exit out. I am going to go second matrix. Here's my matrix, but I need to use the command determinant. then go second matrix. I redefined A, so I can reuse A. I hit enter, and there's an invalid dimension. So what does that mean? Well, what it means, and we could define this for in general, but the only matrices that you can get a determinant for are matrices. So it's kind of a trick question on the examples, but in general, determinants are only viable for square matrices. So at that point, we could have, if you knew that already, we could have saved ourselves some time, but I did want you to see what that looks like. So that's where we would get an error. So if you have a square matrix, you should not get that error. If for some reason you have a square matrix, a 3 by 3 or a 10 by 10, it doesn't matter as long as it's square, if you hit enter on that command for determinant and it gives you that error, then something actually went wrong. If you don't notice that you have a non-square matrix and you try and run that, that's all that means, is that it's physically impossible dimension-wise to find the determinant. So that's all for this video. I'm going to pause it here, but we got one more topic. We're learning on matrix operations, which is finding the inverse, but that is for another video.